And the police state ends with me, and we made it one more day. I don't want to get too down in the weeds about this topic, but I want to go more in depth about district attorneys misusing the system to harm citizens. Particularly, I want to talk about the misuse of grand jury indictments as a means to garner public opinion about an innocent citizen. Negative public opinion, that is, about an innocent citizen. I bring this up because I read about this happening recently in a nearby county to where I live. So when many people hear grand jury, they think of normal jury trial and a person being found guilty when they hear the word indicted. But put it together, indicted by a grand jury, and then a district attorney does a press release, or you can call it a propaganda release. They make this press release to the media, and you have formed public opinion that an innocent person has been found guilty of a crime by a trial jury, when that's not true. However, a grand jury is not a trial jury, but a district attorney-led group of people that only hears what the district attorney wants them to hear. And a grand jury finds no guilt at all, only forms an opinion based off of what the district attorney thinks and has informed them. It's a very misleading activity, and the term indictment is also very misleading to the public. In my firm opinion, grand juries are counterintuitive to truth and justice and a manipulation by district attorneys, police, and totally against the rule of law. And it is used only as a way to harm a citizen with manipulation of facts and lies. Again, I know this topic can be very boring and complicated, so I'll just try to scratch the surface so as not to put everyone to sleep. But the grand jury system in the United States of America was built to mirror the grand jury system in England, actually, but kept going in the United States even after England dropped the grand jury process completely back in 1933. Way back in 1933, they recognized that the grand jury system was too corrupt of a process that can be easily manipulated, and is, by the government and district attorneys. Note that again. Our system of grand juries was mirrored after England's system of grand juries, but they dropped theirs in 1933 because they realized it was a corrupt process. In the United States, we kept going with it. Why did the United States of America retain grand juries? Because so many district attorneys fight to use the system of grand juries as a way to manipulate public opinion towards targets they wish to harm, innocent citizens, that is. Indeed, the American Bar Association says this, quote, "No prosecutor should knowingly fail to disclose to the grand jury evidence which tends to negate guilt or mitigate the offense." In other words, you can't withhold what they call exculpatory evidence, which is evidence that shows a person is innocent of the crime the district attorney wants to go after the citizen for. But over and over again in the United States of America, we see district attorneys using the grand juries simply as a way to get an indictment and press release to mislead the public. And it is a terrible miscarriage of justice and immoral. And these district attorneys, they use these grand juries to do this by withholding evidence that shows a person's innocence, and only shows the grand jury manipulated information to get the indictment. Or in some cases, they withhold evidence that the crime was committed, like we've seen with police, so that they don't get an indictment. They either throw the case or they withhold evidence of the person not being guilty so that they can get the indictment. It's a corrupt process, and that's why England dropped it back in 1933. But again, since district attorneys are virtually never held accountable for illegal acts, such as withholding evidence or throwing the case, they can just do the illegal acts even though they're not supposed to. Again, that's the system when you have no accountabilities for these corrupt psychopaths running this system. You end up with cheating. This is the state of our so-called legal system and police state, folks. I'll leave off there on this topic because I could go on forever about it, but I'll say this. Why do I bring this up? Okay? Because I'm fully, completely, and totally aware of how immoral, unethical, and illegal the Washington County of Oklahoma District Attorney's Office operates, with using seized funds from innocent people for their own personal use, stealing, as well as charging innocent people and running them through the system only to drop the charges the day before or a couple of days before a jury trial because they knew all along the people were innocent but just wanted to make their lives a nightmare and terrorize them and worse. You can go back and watch the video entitled "Using the Cost of the System as a Punishment" for details. Cheating the system and manipulating a grand jury would be completely in line with the Washington County District Attorney's Office to pull a grand jury stunt to form public opinion in their favor in regards to what they've been doing to me. They're currently using friends and family on social media and even sending them to my home to try to form public opinion and cover up their breaches of law and civil and human rights against me. It would not surprise me a bit, not one bit, if grand jury manipulation and propaganda press releases to the media occurred as well. The corruption is just that bad in Bartlesville, Oklahoma and Washington County, Oklahoma. These are salty dogs. So please do not be fooled by these immoral psychopaths. And that this runs from Mike Moore and James Brazel at James Phillips Medical Center directing the police to do this, along with the police lying under oath and committing felonies, having illegal felony access to my medical records, and the people who allowed that to happen, along with the city council going along with this and trying to cover it up, the city manager, the judge and his brother, the judge rubber stamping that warrant, knowing there was no probable cause, breaking the law, being immoral and corrupt to the core. Like I said, I'll end off there. There are 2 articles down in the description below for reference on this topic, but you can Google it as well. There are many, many, many articles about this, how the police and the judges and the district attorneys and the politicians conspire, and the media helps out, and they use these grand juries and the manipulation of the public who think a grand jury is a jury trial and thinks an indictment is a finding of guilt to manipulate the public. Don't let it happen. Now, with all that, I will end today. The police state ends with me. And with that said, I'll see you tomorrow.